Cha-ching.
I guess it's up to me then, huh? Well, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and today with me, as always, is my co-host, Adam Bell. How you doing, Adam?
I am doing well, Peter. How about yourself?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. I just got back from a short run walk.
Run walk?
Which was, yes.
How long was your run walk?
About half an hour. So,
Okay.
And about 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite even, maybe more like a mile and a half or so. Little, give or take, somewhere between there.
Yeah. Well, cool. So
yeah,
that was an easy little exercise for you then.
Twas indeed. So yeah, no, it was fun. It was so my girlfriend has recently started running with me. And she is, coming along very impressively. We went out the other day and I was just coaching her on heart rate training and how to, take it easy and stuff. Because it's hard when someone is new and someone who, presents themselves as, like, I don't do anything. I'm happy sitting on the couch. I don't want to move. When this person starts moving, it's hard for me to know, like, okay, how hard is this really? Is it, like, I can't tell how hard she's working and stuff. So I slapped my heart rate monitor on her the other day and realized that, yeah, she actually is working really hard. So I have to, slow down. She's not just complaining. She's really working hard. So
yeah.
So I had to teach her, like, but on top of that, she's also pretty competitive. So she doesn't want to slow down. So I'm like, well, this is how it's going to play out, right? You've got to listen to your body and we got to, do some changes and stuff. So I'm training her, like, in the aerobic zone, teaching how to keep it slow. So we did that the other day, just 2 days ago, and she kept it up and ran her first 5K with me.
Fantastic.
Just like that.
Easy
in less
peasy.
than like 3 weeks. Yeah, it was like 3 weeks, I believe, from start to finish. So last night, while she's sitting at the hairdresser, she texts me and sends me a link to the Boston Women's 10K and says, "Train me for this." So I am now officially a running trainer, apparently.
Yeah. I don't just play one on TV. I actually am one now.
I play one on the internet and in real life.
That's usually one of your characters in Dungeons and Dragons, right? Today I am playing a running character.
Yes, today I am a runner. And my speed and agility are super high. My strength is kind of low, etc. But what about you? What's on the world of Adam?
So I have had an interesting week. Wednesday night, my wife and I were walking the dog, and she fell and broke her arm.
The dog broke her arm?
No, my wife broke her arm.
Oh, that is not cool.
Not cool. So we went to the emergency room, and as far
like
as
you do,
yeah, like everybody likes to do. In all honesty, the emergency room experience was the best one I've ever had. But no emergency room is awesome. But we got right in. We had to wait. We got in there at like 9:30. We left at like 1 a.m. But so overall, not a bad experience. It just took a long time, but she had a broken arm, so
yeah.
I don't really want him to say,
do.
"Here's a Band-Aid. They're there. Hang in there. Here's 2 Advil. You'll feel better in the morning." So
take 2 of these and don't call me in the morning.
Don't
right?
call me in the morning. So
No.
it was a hassle. There were if there was any negative feedback that I had about the experience, other than like I said, it just takes a long time, but it's kind of like it had cooking dinner. Sometimes it takes what it takes, and I feel like they did a good job. Is that everybody came in and asked the same question: "How'd you do this?" And you explain it, and then they would ask the questions, and then the next person would come in and ask the exact same question. She'd give the exact same answer, and there were 4 different people, and they all got the exact same question and the exact same answers. And I'm like, well, I mean, and then when, it's good as a technician and a person who troubleshoots, sometimes it's good to hear, like, oh, heard you broke your arm, heard you did this, heard you did that, and then get the actual, responses, from the actual patient, or in our case, the computer user who's having the problem. But they weren't passing any notes at all.
Yeah, there's a difference between like validating answers that have been given and no handoff whatsoever of information. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, why are
That
you
can be
here?
frustrating. Yeah.
Well,
Broken arm. I don't know if you heard, but
yeah. This dangler here, this isn't
yeah.
normal.
Oh God. This isn't normal.
Yeah. Although,
gross.
I wondered, it occurred to me that, a woman comes in with a broken arm with her husband. I was expecting some sort of domestic dispute questions. I mean, that I just was expecting it. I mean, I don't, I don't know. Maybe I've read too many cop books or whatever. The husband's always to blame. But I wonder if part of the reason a person comes in with a broken bone, everybody asks the question to get verification again, because of that. I mean, I would think they'd do the same thing with a child with a broken arm. How did this child get a broken arm? Well, daddy shook me. Oh.
I suppose, yeah, I didn't think about that. That might be on the, yeah, do we need to pull your husband aside and ask you privately how you got this broken arm? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think we were putting, off, a couple vibe, both of us concerned about her, not one of us. Yeah.
One of us concerned about going to jail.
Yeah. So, like I said, that wasn't fun. But, I because of that, we were up till 1:30 in the morning. But then the next day, she was planned to bring my youngest daughter home from college, help go up, take the car, load up the cars, and come home. Well, obviously she can't do that next day. So I go to Knoxville to pick up my daughter, and
it was her turn, but here we go.
Here we go. And so
freaking really a broken arm, and you're using that as your excuse.
So we are in the parking garage. We are probably 15-20 minutes away from being done. Sayonara. We're gonna leave at like 12:30 Central Time and be back home before 4:00. And I closed the trunk of my daughter's car, and she's like, "Oh, my keys and phone are in the trunk." Oh. And honestly, it occurred to me before I closed the trunk, to look in it to see if there was anything of value in there, like the keys. But I was like, the keys wouldn't be in the trunk. Why would they be in the trunk?
Why would they?
Why would they be in the trunk?
Keys be in the trunk? Doesn't make any sense.
I closed the trunk, and my daughter says, "Well, Dad, my keys are in the trunk." And her car, the trunk release doesn't work. It has long ago seized. So I'm trying to pull, I'm like, okay, well, we'll go through the back seat. Oh, well, the seat releases are in the trunk. So you got to be in the trunk to release the seats to move them forward. The trunk cable won't open. So I'm going up there, and I'm like prying on, and it's plastic. And I'm like, I know I'm stronger than this plastic, but I've got to try something. So
that sounds backwards to me. Usually you want to keep people, if you've got access to the trunk, you don't want that necessarily leading to access to the cabin.
Yeah, gangsters do not like that. They don't like that.
Yeah, they get out too easily,
They
you
get
know?
out too easy.
So,
Yeah. So that's a Toyota
wow.
Camry is not an ideal mafia hit car. So
Which is
for all
probably
of
why
our
you don't see so many mobsters driving around in Toyota Camrys.
otherwise it'd be a perfect mob car.
I I would think so. I mean, Jesus.
So
All right.
I got inside and I pulled and I pulled and I pulled and finally it broke. Um, and the handle actually, to its credit, the handle didn't break. The bracket holding the ball and cable, the bracket broke off, and so I dig it out. I'm trying to get to the cable, and I have no tools because the tools are locked in the trunk. So all I have, she's got a pair of tweezers, which I like. The tweezers won't pull harder than my fingers. I mean, pulling on this thing. And so we call AAA, like, okay, well, need a locksmith. Guy comes, he calls, he's on his way. He said, dude, I'm not a locksmith. He said, I'm a mechanic, but I'm not a locksmith. And he's
I
like, well,
could
let me call.
jump your battery or something, right?
Yeah. He says, well, let me try to get you a locksmith. I mean, and we've already waited an hour for a locksmith who didn't even call. We waited an hour and hadn't even gotten a call. So I canceled with them, called AAA, and he calls back and he says, you know what? I'm just gonna stop by and give it a try. Let me see what I can figure out. I'm like, okay. I mean, sure, you've got
Sure.
tools. I've got some ideas, because I've done some research online. I'm thinking, one of the things that I found was how to possibly pop the latch of the seat, because the seat just has a latch that locks it in place and you release it and you push it down. So kind of like breaking into a house, you used to take a credit card and push the lever and you could get in. Similar thing. If I could just get that latch, I'm thinking, okay, he's got some tools. And so he gets in there and he says, well, I'm going to try to pull the cable. And he gets 2 needle nose pliers and holds the cable, pulls the cable, and he gets the trunk popped. Fantastic. So we get in, thanks, bro. I mean, you went above and beyond. Because he's just like, I'm just going to give it a try because I'm not a locksmith. There's nothing I can do, but hey, let me come see if I can help, so thanks. And his name was Zach. So thanks, Zach. And, he came out and got that. And when he got done, the trunk will no longer close. The frozen cable was frozen the other way. Now is froze back into the open position. The trunk is open, but it will not latch. So I say, you have any string? Asked my daughter, you have any string in all of your college stuff? And she says, no. I said, all
No
right,
string. This
where
is
are
a
your
no strings attached college.
no strings attached? I said, all right, so where are your shoes? She said, well, they're okay. So I found a pair of her hiking shoes, which kind of have a tougher nylon cord. And so I strapped I just reached in there, tied it to the trunk and tied it to the license plate and closed it up. And we drove home in the rain and it stayed dry and stayed closed. So
There's a good test.
so all that, just my wife hadn't fallen down and broken her arm. None of that would have happened.
That was really kind of inconsiderate of her. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so
That's too bad.
now the car is at Toyota. It's being evaluated and repaired, and so it needed to be done anyway because her gas cover, the gas cover, for the cover of the whatever you call it, the knob or you know,
Gas tank.
the plug. Yeah, but
Plug.
that just stays open. So need to get that fixed anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, we're dropping it off. Let's get it
Yes.
fixed. So
It sounds like you should just buy her a new Camry.
not for the price of a trunk latch.
Oh man. Oh, well, that's awesome.
Broken
Oh,
arm
brother.
equals a broken trunk. But it's been an adventure. So that's been my adventure since Wednesday. And you can have a bad attitude at it or you can have a good attitude. and it's better to have a good attitude because you can keep on going. I am sleepy,
Congratulations.
but I'm not mad about it. Yeah. That's the name of the podcast. I'm sleepy, but not
I'm
mad about
sleepy,
it.
but I'm not mad about it. Yep, there you go.
So,
All right. What else we got?
well, I didn't get to comment on your AI. You left me a voicemail. We're talking about how so Congress met. Do you want to recap that? Because I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been hearing a lot. So for example, I've been listening to lots of podcasts, reading lots of headlines, and I watched the congressional testimony earlier this week where Sam Altman and others like the heads of AI at IBM and a professor from I forget what university, basically all testified in front of Congress about AI and the risks and etc. And one of the things that jumped out, lots of things jumped out at me, but one of the things that jumped out at me was Sam Altman, who's the head of OpenAI, said that AI is good at doing tasks, but it's not so good at doing jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that assessment. And, because like I tried, for example, using Auto GPT, which is supposedly, a way it's an add on, which is supposed to make Chat GPT be able to do jobs where you give it a big task and it'll think about it and it'll go surf the web to do this and that and the other. And I've seen some impressive demos, but as I've said before, all I've managed to do with it was, like double my monthly OpenAI API bill and get zero value out of those. But I concur that, when they say that it's good at doing tasks, but not jobs, with an asterisk. And that is if if all you do for your job is a bunch of tasks
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really have the visibility or the perception of where you fit into the big scheme of things,
Mm-hmm.
you're just doing tasks and you will lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
If your job is to, pick up French fries from the fryolator and hand them to the person at the front counter,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a task,
Yeah.
right? That job will go away.
Mm-hmm.
So, I see this again as a warning to people, to like the everyday folks. And it makes me wonder because, people say like, well, AI is not going to take people's jobs. Well, I think it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And others people say, yes, they are going to, they will lose their jobs, but then they can do other jobs. Well, there comes a time I'm wondering what other jobs are there going to be, right? If you're just a task pusher, like you're going to be out of a job. So
Mm-hmm.
what is going to happen to those people? I'm genuinely curious.
We'll just have
So
to keep
that's what I
consuming.
got.
We'll have to keep consuming the planet to keep them in jobs.
Well, apparently, but I mean, that really becomes like this, doesn't that mean that we might be heading towards a welfare state where the people who are the least capable are essentially just taken care of by everyone else? It's like we're kind of rewarding you for not being able to do anything. Ooh, I'm not sure I like where this is going.
I bet
So
a mathematician could help us with that and determine exactly when that year might be.
probably an economist. I think an
Yeah.
economist would be able to help. So yeah.
Yeah, there are some, I speaking, I wish that somebody would come up with a model of economies working without being requirement of growth. Without, I mean, right now, the United States economy is based on growth. If it doesn't grow, if we don't have more people, more jobs, more houses, more roads, more cars, then our economy cannot survive. I mean, a recession makes all kinds of problems, and even a recession where they're like, oh, well, it didn't go to the negative. It just, we're used to 8% growth and we're only doing 6.5%. And that's really affecting our bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
We need a better model because
Mm-hmm.
we need to find out when that number is going to hit where we're like, okay, we've built as many houses as we have population and geography. There are no fresh streams left, we're now living on
Mm-hmm.
Coruscant.
Welcome to Star. I didn't know you were a Star Wars watcher.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't think we've ever talked about that, have we? Wow, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm big Star Wars. We can philosophize. I've got books on philosophy from Star Wars.
I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of good there too.
Yeah. Good. So anyway, so you're saying an economy that's not based on growth, so a zero growth economy.
A zero growth economy. How can people have jobs and have good quality of life without the entire economy being dependent upon growth? I mean,
So
I'm not saying
I'm
lack
not
of commerce. I'm just talking about
right.
not more people being put onto the planet.
Yep. So I'm not that much of an economics expert, so I can't tell you off the top of my head. But I think about things where, like you're saying, transit and commerce, especially in between various economies, like various countries. Like, why do we outsource such and such? Well, it's actually cheaper for us to let them make this for us, that kind of thing. So I'm just curious though. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should get an economist on the show.
Well, there are countries out there that do that currently, that that
Do
they
what?
that they survive on a non-population growth. I mean, they're not like now second world countries that have turned into third world countries. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
What you said they're on population growth or economic growth?
both. I mean, well, economic growth doesn't have to be tied to population growth. I'm primarily talking about population growth.
Right.
More and more people
Right.
consuming the earth. We
Right.
I'd
Right.
love
Right.
to be, we're, whatever the rate is, slow that down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not anti-people. I'm just like, do we all need to have 10 kids anymore? I don't think we do.
I don't think we ever did. I don't know. And maybe back in the time with mammoths and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We've kind of, we own this planet now. The humans do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, other than viruses, maybe, but yes.
Yeah. It's the chickens and the insects. Anyway, I think
Okay. What else?
we
What
have
else we got?
diverged.
Chickens and insects. Moving on.
Moving on. So did I tell you about my old truck? My I am wanting
You've
to,
we've talked
yeah.
about your old truck before,
So
for
I've got an
sure.
old truck, but what I want to do is I'm going to get it rebuilt this year. So there is a
Okay.
company out in Vegas, and what they do is they focus specifically on old Chevy trucks, and you give them your truck, they give you back a daily driver truck with your front, I mean the body that you had, with new glass, new interior, new engine, new transmission, new rear end, safe front end and brakes and air conditioning and heat, and the gas tanks are in safe places, and you now have seat belts and, and mirrors.
Whoa.
And without changing the entire character of the truck. I mean, technically you could, as a car owner, you could change it as much as you want. But me, I
Right.
want my truck to still look like a 55 Chevy truck that hasn't been, pimped out, where, the roof has been chopped and the wheels are lowered and I can bounce. I want it to look like,
Brand new carbon fiber body and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not what you're going for. Okay.
I want it to look like a cherry version of what it was. I mean, but there's something, my truck is not a safe vehicle to drive. It is, I'm slower to accelerate, I'm slower to brake. And my turns are not, I don't have the movement that other cars do, just regular cars like the Toyota Camry will completely outperform my truck. And I am actually dangerous on the road. I'm a danger to myself and I'm a danger to others because they are performing like the cars that they are. They're used to braking. Somebody may brake in front of me real fast. Well, I can't possibly slow down as fast as I need to, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's slow. It's slow and dangerous.
Yeah, no, you're definitely a danger to other drivers. That's the kind of thing, like saying like, "Oh, who cares if I drive while I'm drunk?" Well, I kind of do
Yeah.
because I'm on the road too. You
Uh-huh.
know. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because I have to drive slower. I can only do like 60 mile an hour, so I can't do the interstate. All I've got's highway.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to drive slow. I got to take off slow. And like I said, it causes people to be up, they're thinking, well, this guy's not ever going to speed up. He's not ever going to get to 60. So what do? They go around me and then they cause an adverse situation because they've gone around me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so being a safe driver, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, it sounds like a worthy upgrade, if you ask me. I mean, it sounds like you're gonna get more value out of that than, me like upgrading my Sonos gear, for instance.
Yeah, because well, I'm gonna have more or less a brand new truck. The bummer is it will take 12 to 18 months for it to be completed.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit of a delay there.
Yeah. Although, something that I really considered, and if I had a piece of junk truck that wasn't sentimental, this truck was my wife's grandfather's truck, and he gave it to me,
Okay.
and I'm the second owner of a 1955 Chevy truck. I mean, that's it's
So
kind of,
1955.
yeah, 1955.
So that thing is, as math, 45 plus 68 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
That thing's ready to retire, dude.
It's ready to retire. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be 70 years old in 2 years.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's
So
very impressive.
what I was seriously considering, like I think would be a fun idea, is to make an electric truck out of a 1955 electric truck.
I so not knowing anything about that, I don't know, like, is that practical? Are
Oh,
there
it's not I mean, for just driving, it actually wouldn't be bad for just driving because trucks are really light. You would take away
hmm
the engine.
hmm
So all of your weight would be battery and I'm in motors. I mean, like the electric motors, I don't know how heavy they are, but I imagine that they're heavy. Um,
mm,
but I did see a concept car out there that Ford was entertaining for 1970 Ford pickup trucks,
okay.
and they were retrofitting batteries into them. And I think that that'd be kind of cool. As just a fun thing, of course, you'd have to do something where you'd have to be able to charge at like a Tesla station or one of those places. If you were going to do it, you couldn't make it completely specialized. You kind of have to get on board with somebody's process.
Right, but you're not going to be able to charge anything but a Tesla at a Tesla station.
Oh, that's too bad.
No, those are restricted. You can charge at other EV stations, but not a
Oh, okay.
Tesla station.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I barely see
that's
any
a
other.
closed system.
It's a closed system. I barely see
Yeah.
anybody going. I barely see any systems other than Tesla charging stations anymore.
Well, the others don't have the big flashy neon orange logos, so it's not really surprising
Hmm.
that you don't see others. But if you look for them, they're there. But definitely Tesla is the most ubiquitous.
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe ChargePoint is more widely distributed. But what I notice the most is, and I'm thinking about it right now, for instance, National Grid, my electric provider here, is offering up to a $700 rebate if you install a new home charging station. And I already have a Tesla charging station, but I am thinking I will probably yank it and replace it with a new one, which is generic. So for my next car, I don't have to be, because mine will only work with a Tesla right now. Um, but that means that when I want to charge my Tesla, I have to go through the hassle of putting the adapter on the charger every time for the next however many years I own my Tesla.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, okay, am I going to get another, when's my plan is to keep my Tesla for, like 5 more years, basically have it for 10 years. That's the plan. So is it worth it? Will they do another incentive between now and then? I don't know. But, I'm like, hey, I can throw my electrician some work if he wants it and get a free charging station. I just don't know, with my luck. Oh, yeah, you didn't check this box, which nullifies the rebate. Doesn't really apply to you. You're out $700 plus installation. We're so sorry. I don't want to go through that.
Do you
And I
have
even
a
checked. Go ahead.
Do you have a charge station at your parents'?
I do.
Ah, yeah.
Yep, exactly. Already got that. And my friend Reed is coming over tonight. He has a condo down here, and he also has a place up in the hometown where we grew up. And I just messaged him and I was like, do you have a charger at home? Yes, he does. I was like, okay, okay. So, not, I can't get rid of this thing. I'm like, who do I know who has a Tesla who might benefit from a Tesla charging station? I don't know anyone else right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So how long can you expect to run on your Tesla?
I mean, it's got wait, like for years or mileage?
Yeah, years. I mean, like how long
I
is it
mean,
a viable car?
people have had these things for 10 years, So I forgot. I read a report some time ago, but like back right when I was first getting it or about to get it and stuff, and saying that after like 10 years, the batteries degrade by around 10% or so. So I should still have a range of around 200 miles or so when mine's done.
I wonder if they could, computers, we talk about life cycle, expectancies on them, and from the time you start them to the time you're done, and have a process for recycling them so you don't have this e-waste. They almost ought to think about those cars like that as being disposable, and how you take a 10-year-old Tesla and take the materials of that and turn it into a new Tesla.
Well, I'm sure that people have thought this through. People as they say, people smarter than us, right? But it's like I'm not going to be the one benefiting from that transfer.
Oh
Like,
no.
hey, thank you for this. We will now salvage the $15,000 or $20,000 of scrap parts in your machine that you just gave to us. Thank you very much.
Well, what if they gave you like a 10%, something towards the new one,
Yeah, I mean, a discount, a trade. Well, isn't that called a trade-in?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody thought about that 100 years ago.
Huh, what an idea. So I have a different topic for you.
Okay.
Pivot to change gears.
All right. We're pivoting all day, so it's good.
We are pivoting all day. I could pivot all day. Apparently, when I started running in earnest, I was not tracking everything using the Apple Workouts app. And I don't remember what app or apps I was using. And I went through the other day because I went back and looked at all of my, my stuff because I wanted to know, like, okay, when I was running, my first few weeks, because I was really curious because I was trying to, tell my girlfriend, like, look, you're doing really good. Look at what I was doing when I was running, right? I wasn't doing much of anything, or, just trying to see what exactly I was doing. And I went back, and my workouts in Apple Health only go back, or in my Apple, fitness app only go back to like 2018 or so. But I
Mm-hmm.
started in earnest like in 2017.
Yeah, you were using something else.
I tried, and here's the thing: I don't know for sure that those apps even like required logins back then. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I very well may have been keeping them on the local machines, the local phones, which has been I've since wiped. Because
Yeah.
I used Runkeeper. I think I used Runtastic. I might have used uh there was one company that makes like a cycling one and another one. There's all kinds of different things.
But you had different wearables
Um
too. Didn't you have like one around your chest?
I had a bunch. I tried the Misfit, and I probably used their apps. I probably wrote some, but later on I was doing those with, and centralizing it all in Apple Health.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know at this point, like, what apps was I running back then? This is 6 years ago, right? I'm like, so I've lost all that data. Me, the person who loves to, record all this stuff. But I was able to find at least some record of it in my Fitness Pal,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have any details. It's just like you ran for 1 hour and burned 400 calories. So that's all I have. And so I'm kind of bummed about that. And I mean, I suppose if I have the backups, and oh my goodness, I do not have the patience, but I mean, it would be a huge project. Just imagine going through, delving through, finding backups that might have account information stored on these things. I just,
I bet.
anyway, the long and short of it is it's gone.
Yeah. If you wanted to dig through our messaging history, I'm pretty sure you sent me like some things.
Probably sent you some things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, I mean, because you would send me, because I was using Fitbit and I would send things to you and you would send things back in response. So I
Yes.
think you might find some cookie crumbs in that.
Sure. And have you ever taken the time to scroll back through old messages?
Yeah, I just did it
Because
here for a second and I did like 10 scrolls up where it was all the way waiting. And that only got me to like July.
and how long did it take to render?
Uh, yeah, the whole time you were contemplating where those were.
Yeah. And I even one time I wanted to go back like a year and find stuff. So I wrote an Apple script to do nothing but hit the up arrow in messages and
Mm-hmm.
then pause, and then up again, and then pause, and then up again, and then pause. And because if you like did it too many times, the app would just freeze.
Yeah.
And then the up arrows would actually cause it to get like in a loop and get even more stuck. So it was painful. And so
Mm-hmm.
I had that thing like running overnight, and it had to do, it's just like, okay, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So nope,
Forget
nope,
about
nope.
it.
Yep, yep. So I've lost most of that, but that it goes back to something I remember when I was reading Tim Ferriss's second book, The 4 Hour Body, where he mentioned, like, start recording your stuff early on, because like everyone I've talked to who turns out to do some kind of consistent training and stuff
Mm-hmm.
always wishes they had some sort of record as to what it was like in the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
As we're aging out.
yep, there you go. I have one last thing,
Okay.
and then I think we're probably good to call it. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just realizing the time has flown.
It has. I mean, we got a tiny bit of a late start, but um question. So one of my favorite YouTube channels, I realized only recently that he has Patreon subscription, and he started a podcast, and his stuff would show up in my YouTube feed from time to time. I don't remember how I stumbled across him. I was looking for something on ultra running, I'm sure, and YouTube said, "Hey, you might like this."
Yeah.
I'm going to share it with you before I share it with the rest of the listenership. But I want to get your impression of the relationship he has with his wife.
Okay.
Okay? So as a married man, I want to get your impression with that. That's all I'm going to say right now on the podcast. All right? And then if you want, we can discuss that on a future episode.
All right, that's coming in our next episode. We carry over the video.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right. On that note, what do you think? Should we take us out?
Yeah, let's take it out. Let's take it out. So, listener, by the way, we got a lot of feedback last week about
we did. We had like 100% more feedback than we normally do.
Yeah, it was like 138 spam bot posts that were in our
only
only
one of those got through to my inbox.
Yeah, well, that's one nice thing it does. It sends the email, but all those comments and everything, they just sit there. So, because otherwise that'd drive me nuts. So, but anyway.
Spam comments. Got it. Not yeah, I understood.
We did get some spam email, or just, hey, we love your content, or would you repost my health tips?
Right.
So, listener, we do want your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. And if you would like to learn more about us, you can do so at Paradigm Consulting Co LLC, ParadigmCC.com, YogaWithPeter.com, FriendsWithBrews.com. And if you're on the Mastodon, you can find at Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange. You can find me at SublimeComp.com. RR Lavender Farm is now in process on our new website. It's coming soon, a new e-commerce site. And on the twit, you can find us at Sublime Comp. And with that, we can hit the big red button.
Big red button.